Good morning, Tehmina Khan is here in TKMaths is 1. In today's video, we will start the series of hypothesis testing. I have already made it. It is on my blog also, but that is an old version. So now it is a new version and I'm trying to make it more comprehensive and using the new technology. So let's start. In the first video, I will give you the overall overview of the topic basically, and then I will go stepwise. So what is hypothesis testing? First of all, what we have to cover in it. If you don't understand few terms, the next video too will give you the complete explanation of it. So when we are talking about hypothesis testing in the syllabus of 9709 S2 paper, we are talking about discrete variables, which is like hypothesis testing for binomial proportion or for the Poisson mean. When it is binomial proportion, we use P. When it is Poisson mean, we will use the symbol or notation lambda. We will talk about type 1 and type 2 error. Now, an hypothesis test 2, which is on z-test, you are aware from the study of S1 last year. Okay, this is related to normal distribution. So what happened now? Introduction to what is z-test will be covered in this, and hypothesis test based on the mean mu population, and type 1 and type 2 error, which will be same. The definition I'll explain it to you. Beside that, you will study binomial proportion. Now why did I write it in the z-test? What comes in your mind? The hint is given here. Yes, when you use approximation, question is in binomial but you are using normal approximation, so in those type of questions, then how we will handle it in the hypothesis testing, we will cover those aspects. So your prerequisite knowledge will be required here. And also on the Poisson mean, so you have done S2 in S2 recently in Poisson chapter, when you use normal approximation to find out the probabilities of Poisson, so what do you do in that case? So those type of cases you will handle by using z-test. So that's why this is called discrete variables and z-test hypothesis testing. So this is the basically overall review of the topic. These are the things we will cover in it. So what is the language which is used? Because there are terms which are specifically used and you need to understand the meaning of each one of them so that you can apply it correctly. So I'm starting with the discrete variable, which is hypothesis test 1. So in this case, I will cover both the questions of binomial proportion and Poisson mean. And the strategy I have kept is that I will explain one question to you, and then there will be a question for testing your understanding. So you can put the video on pause at that point and you can solve it. Then you will see the solution. I have solved it for you also in detail, so you can compare you working with that. So what are the language of hypothesis testing which we use is the null and alternative hypothesis, one tail and two tail test, significance level, critical region, test statistics, rejection rule, formulating hypothesis and then carrying out the hypothesis test, find the for the perimeter of P binomial, and for the Poisson distribution, type 1 and type 2 error. By the way, the same language will be used for the hypothesis test 2, which is z-test, right? The same language will be used in the question. So in video 2, basically I will explain you all these terms with the help of one question which I have solved in detail. So now we are talking about type 1 and type 2 error. What is it? So null hypothesis, because I said you will study what is null and alternative hypothesis. In hypothesis testing, null hypothesis is represented by H0 and alternative hypothesis is represented by H1 in most of the book. So now type 1 error, the null hypothesis is actually true and you reject it. So this is actually true, but you are rejecting it after the test. It is just like in laboratory that actually what you say is right, but the test say no, it is not right, so you reject it. This is a significance level of the test. And what is the type 2 error? you accept the null hypothesis and it is actually not true. So in that case, you accept it, right? Null hypothesis, you accept it, but actually it is not true. So what did we learn? In type 1 error, we reject it. We said no. And in this case, we accept it. What are these? We will see in detail. You will understand it. These are the language which you have to come across multiple times to get used to of it. It is totally new concept for you. So don't worry if you don't understand type 1 error right now, you will get it. So there are few steps you must mention when you are solving hypothesis testing or solving the question on hypothesis. There are certain steps you must follow. First of all, you should define what is the variable. So what is your x variable against which you are testing? You have to tell what is your H0 and H1, null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. You have to explain their rejection rule also here. For example, if I'm taking test of the students and I do not tell them that at when the result will be considered as a failed result, so it is told to them that, for example, less than 30% will be considered as a failed result. So rejection rule is very important to explain in the beginning before performing the test. So all those who fall in that region is called critical region. So for example, I said all those who get less than 25% in the exam will fail. So if somebody get 22%, 23%, 18%, so it is all less than 25%. So they will all fail, right? So any value which falls in the critical region is considered as a rejection of null hypothesis. Make your conclusion in a statistical term. So whatever the scenario is, then we comment in that context. So for example, this is the question. In next video, I will actually explain you all those terms which I have just discussed, not explained in detail. And I will solve this question in detail with the help of this question. So if I see here, if you read this question, the significance level is given 5%. What is the meaning of this claim? What is the meaning of his friend Hardeep thinks? So all this we will discuss in the next video. So link you can find in the description below. Okay. Thank you very much for watching this video. Take care. Allah Hafiz.